Well, hello, Tiki Taki, in the words of old people. Hey, Tiki Taki.
Hello.
Is it me you're looking for? Mm-hmm. Hello, hello, hello. Come one, come all. Joy and black love. When you come in, let us know you're here. Say hello. Trying to get all these wonderful streaming platforms up and going. Come on in, come on in. We're gonna continue to talk about um, marriage foundation and what that looks like. Giving everybody a minute to come on in the room. Come on in the room. Come on in the room. Jesus is my doctor. He writes out all of my scriptures. He brings all of my medicine in the room. T Marie, I was gonna send you a message. Yes. Come on in the room. Come on in the room. Jesus is my doctor. He writes out all of my scriptures. He brings all of my medicine in the room.
In the room.
In the room.
In the room.
Oh, you better sing, babe. Sing it then.
I did. It was sung.
It was sung,
It
babe.
already had been sung.
Say what now?
It had already been brought to, already been sung.
It had been. He said it had been sunging. Well, Darius Hughes is in the room. Come on in the room. Come on in the room. Jesus is my doctor. He writes out all of my scriptures. He brings all of my medicine in the room. Yeah, go take part in the room. You don't cooperate well.
You only paid me for one time. It's like third time you done said it. You ain't paid me for all that now. We got to discuss some new terms.
What? What? You been getting payment,
No.
babe? You been getting payment. A whole bunch of payment.
No. My Bible say every day.
You
It's
was getting
Thursday.
two, three times a day. That's enough.
Yeah, day is a new day. Yesterday's gone.
You know what? Today I'm in need.
Today I'm in need.
Let me share your page. I got all my advice. Right, look, T Marie says too much. That's TMI. Okay, we won't say too much. So last week, I'm trying to share this stuff over here this side. Last week we talked about um we started with biblical foundation because we realized that these things I here don't know nothing about the word in marriage.
What do we realize?
That they were talking about what scripture was that he said something about the two shall become one was talking about Christians.
I don't know. You got my phone.
Hold on, I need to share it with the Christians and something. I was like, what? What? Look, where they do that at? I don't know, but we gonna just talk a little bit and help. Hopefully, this will help somebody. In the words of the older people, it helped somebody because
Mm,
because we understand that marriage is God's institution.
right.
It don't look the same to everybody, but we can help somebody. Cause honey, somebody helped us.
I
Somebody
think it was
pray for me.
19 and 6 is the one, Matthew. Pretty sure.
That dog drink a lot in.
Wow.
All right, so we finna get going. Marriage foundation. We part two. So when you come in, say you're here, share it to your page, let somebody know.
I'm here.
You get some message.
President.
How many platforms are we? How many different sessions are we? Platforms are we live on? Three. Three. Thank you so much for joining and tagging us in. Hey, Lashana. And if I miss it, you got look. You're Darius. You got to echo said. You're in the room. You ain't do the in the room.
I did it already.
You ain't do that part. You just
I did it. The first time you sung it. I'll do it the second and third time. We
Oh,
ain't discussed
Darius,
them terms.
Darius, get yourself together.
I came here for one performance.
One.
One.
Okay. I thought you said you like that song. Your love deserves an encore.
No.
Okay. We too old for encores.
You didn't pay me for more than one performance.
It wasn't in your contract.
No, one.
Anyway,
Uno.
so let's go to the scripture. We going back to tell me the notification. Okay. Well, listen. We on several platforms. We want people to be able to get this word. Baby shaking okay, sweetie.
That's where everybody want preach on.
So wherever you watching from. So listen, we talked about how God designed marriage, and we were talking about Genesis 2:24 and Matthew 19:6. Someone came in last week and had a different interpretation, or where's the OP interpretation of what it meant. So we just realized that we're gonna go back to basics with some of this stuff. And um marriage originates with God. We know that He created it, He designed it. And we want to just talk about it a little bit, talk about what that looks like. When it said, how does viewing marriage as God designed change the way we approach conflict and commitment? Like, 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 if you know that God designed it, if you think of it in that way, do you handle your disagreements the same?
I'm sorry, I was distracted.
I know you was reading.
What is a cuddle social?
I don't know, honey. I don't either, baby. But
okay, I thought you knew. You all things knowing.
I don't. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
What the hell, my head?
So you want to read the scripture, baby?
Which one?
Well, whichever one we're going to go to, we're going to start talking about right now.
I don't know which one that's.
Well, let's just start there.
Scripture is, this is
do me a favor and make sure you read where they can hear you, because when
Genesis
I hear the video
2.
I can't hear
Genesis 2:24. That is why a man leaves his father and mother and is united to his wife, and they become one flesh.
Now, the question is, and I've heard, and I actually used to say this, does that mean that they're just talking to the men? Like when we say leave his mother and father and cleave. Oh, because no, that's not what it said. That's not the scripture.
Let me go back to it.
I don't know why you didn't leave it on the screen.
Because you have more than one scripture here. So yes, 2:24 says.
Okay, this is why a man leaves his father and mother and is united in to his wife and become one flesh. Does that mean you're talking about strictly just the man, being the one that leave? Because I know that it says the man shall leave.
That's right.
But
so I'm sure that's what they're talking about.
But
But
it's talking about, but the wife has to leave what she has, because if she is cleaving to her family.
Well, but the thing is, that's understood in the context of the way the family structure was in biblical days.
I know you're talking sexy, baby.
I'm not talking sexy. I'm looking at the scripture and I'm explaining unto you.
Unto me. Okay. Go ahead, sweetie.
So yes, it's talking specifically about the man here.
So,
but they do have to still become one flesh, which means they have to come together.
Oh, and we briefly touched on that last week, how difficult it is for two people with two different backgrounds to become one unit. Because let's just look at the difference in our backgrounds. So,
I'm tall, you're short.
Wait a minute. Did y'all hear him say he tall, I'm short? That I don't think that's what we're talking about. That doesn't help in marriage.
You said a difference in background.
Mm-hmm.
So that's a difference in background.
That is not a difference in background.
It is. How's it not?
I can't.
Was your experience growing up different because you're short and I'm tall? Yes, it was. Thank you.
Don't laugh at that, T. Marie. That is ridiculous. So, I was the baby of my family, my mother and father, who are now married and have been married for 65 years. He's the baby. He's his mother's baby.
Mm-hmm.
Well, aren't you your dad's baby too?
No.
I thought you said you was the last. Who's after you, Justin?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so he's the baby of for his mom. and he lived in the house with his mother. But his mom and dad are not together. How many brothers and sisters do you have different? Right. Well, okay. So I have two sisters, and I have a brother. I had a brother. My brother passed away. So then it's 14 of them, different mothers
From my dad.
from his dad,
One from my mom.
and one sister from his mom. So part of the thing that made it different was hey, Lashana, what makes it different is what your household structure looks like. Because when I used to talk to him about what family is or family unit, I was talking from my experience.
Mhm.
And I didn't even have an idea that he had a whole different experience. I'm going to bring you guys on my podcast soon. Well, okay, well, bring us on your podcast. But we don't realize that. Well, I didn't. So let me back it up.
Mhm.
So I was the baby of my mother and father who were still married, and they are still married now. But that's all I knew to be normal. A mother and a father in the house.
Mhm.
I remember when I was in school and people say I'm going to spend the weekend with my dad, I literally was like, me too, because my dad was in the house. So I thought that was normal.
Mhm.
And then it wasn't until I started hearing people talking, I'm thinking, like, what is happening? I had to understand, okay, inbox me on Facebook, that's fine. I had to understand that everybody didn't have a mom and dad in the house.
Mhm.
And that the stability that I had in my household was not no. See, back in the day, it was really normal,
Mhm.
but as we grew older, it's become less and less normal.
Right.
But then, even at that, what in your experience was what growing up,
Single mother.
huh?
Single mother.
Okay, and how do you think that shaped you in this marriage, like in becoming one?
Well, that's hard to say because, as you know, I'm very much a contrarian. So a lot of the stuff that were my mother's values are not necessarily my values in that sense.
Mm, oh, explain.
Well, I mean, as far as the
Thank you, Team
church and
Green.
things of that nature, but her idea of what a relationship looks like and how it functions, we're worlds apart, my mother and I, about what that looks like and how that is brought to reality or to fruition.
Well, see now, let me ask you this:
Mhm.
It's how many years have you guys? Women, is that what it say? Did you guys? Do you guys all have?
Going on
We
25.
25. Well, 25, and we're going on 25 in April.
Yeah.
Okay. And but here's the thing, it plays a big part. Normally,
Mhm.
what we see now, how a single mother operates and feels usually affects the son.
Correct. But the thing about it is I had lots of other influences because I played lots of different sports and I was involved in lots of extracurricular activities. So I had lots of different, not just men, but women as well, who, had varied opinions on different things. Not to say that we had conversations so much
Right. But you watch
about those
them?
things, right? But kids are very observant. So they look and see how you treat people, how you interact, and things of that nature.
Okay. Okay.
So I was blessed
Hello,
in that
hello.
sense.
So it's funny because your mom view on marriage is very different than
Mhm.
what we have. I laugh because sometimes his mom will give an opinion and he said, nah, what we got over here is
Yeah,
good.
you keep
You
that
said
over there.
you keep that over there. But I so on the other side of that,
Mhm.
me being in the house with a mother and father that's been married, not seeing them disagree,
Mhm.
um, different little things that I noticed that was going on that I know now
Right.
is not the correct way to do things. It's funny because
You would think it'd be the opposite.
right,
Right. So
right,
it affects you in a positive way, but also negatively as well.
right. But then
Right.
that also the other part of that, I've been married before, he had not.
Right.
And I know you made a stance that you were going to get married. What you said? I don't put words in your mouth.
So I was gonna get married one time, and that was it.
And he stuck to that. We wanted to be married one time. I, on the other hand, thought that marriage was easy. I thought that when you get married, It's good. It's gravy. There's no problem.
Right.
And when I got married and there was problems, I thought,
Mm,
ooh, this is not of God.
right. Cause look,
Look,
it got to be them. It ain't you.
right. Well, it was not just that. I'm just saying it couldn't be. I wasn't talking about a disagreement. When it was so many problems, I thought that it was like the movie. The movie you get married
Everything is wonderful.
and everything is wonderful. And then I had infertility issues and stuff like that. And so you talking about this is not how marriage is supposed to go in my mind. So we're trying to cultivate a life of marriage God's way and not what the because
Well,
what
the good thing about that too is that you needed those experiences to build intestinal fortitude because you hadn't been through anything in your childhood to build your character.
that might be true.
That's very true.
Don't act like you know me.
So if we'd have got married before you married those other two people, we probably wouldn't have made it.
You ain't have to put none right there.
Huh?
The other two people. I said I've been married before. I ain't said I've been married twice before.
Oh, my bad. My bad now.
You're right. I do believe that all of our experiences shape who we are now.
Correct.
And it made me come to a realization that it's me, it's me, it's me, oh Lord, standing in need of prayer. Like
Right.
I had, look, Arlise said, now Mr. said that was mean. Tell him, Arlise, that was mean. So if I had not gone through the experience I did, I don't think I would be the wife I am today.
Correct.
Does that mean perfect? No. But what I hear now out of this wife circle is a mess.
But I think you were, first of all, you were willing to have self-reflection, which a lot of people are not willing to have. So
Accountability.
you can't be successful if you're not able to reflect on yourself and be like, you know what, I may not have done that right. I might need to think about another way to do that.
And even learning the words. You know, we talk very strategically about our words.
Mhm.
My husband's favorite meaning word, I mean favorite saying is words have meaning.
Right.
Because you know everybody now changes the words. Well, it don't mean that anymore.
Right.
Or it means something different now. No, the word is the word. Like I don't know.
I'm
How,
wondering exactly how that works anyway.
right.
Well, it changed meaning for you, but everybody else it mean the same thing.
Correct.
So how do
And
you effectively communicate with
well,
that?
here's the thing. If we talked about when I used to the issue between us was respect.
Mm.
His definition of respect was different than mine. So even though there's a definition dictionary in the dictionary, what does respect or disrespect look like to my husband?
Right.
And that took me asking some questions.
That's correct. Because you assumed you were doing something, and I told you, nah, that ain't it. You're not. As far as I'm concerned.
You know what? And here's the other part of that. Talk about we're talking about leaving
Leave and cleave. Yep.
yeah, leaving Cleve, right?
Become one flesh, right.
Child, no, this is leaving Cleve.
Right.
My thoughts, right,
Right.
is when I in the beginning. Okay, I left friend. They popped up over here. This messed me up. I know. Don't judge me. So, okay, this that brain fart. Leave me alone.
Listen, we close, but we ain't that close. I don't know what's in your brain right there.
You don't?
I don't. Not this time.
I forgot.
Leave and cleave, become one flesh.
All right, I'm gonna go back to it. All right. So what does? Oh, in the beginning, I was saying you have to talk to the person you're engaged with or dating to see what they mean by certain things.
Yeah.
Here's the bigger question I have. When I used to, in the beginning of our relationship, I used to ask you questions.
Right.
And I asked a lot of questions.
You did.
What did you feel about those questions? And I'm not just talking about the name you called it, but what did you feel about me asking those questions? And what was your thought process about me?
Nosy. Thought you was getting all up in my business. And the reason I thought that is because, especially, we weren't vibing at that time. So I'm like, normally, if someone's asking questions, but you're getting along and things are trending in the right direction, you probably more apt to be like, oh, they're trying to find out things, but it wasn't. So I'm like, well, what you asking all these questions for? Your behavior is not what it should be.
So now this is just an example of communication. And when you're trying to learn your spouse, I was asking questions because here's the thing. Most people have been in a relationship before you. Most people. And so if I've been in a relationship before you and somebody did things that I don't like,
Right.
that bothered me, that made me uneasy, or that was hurtful, I want to know those things. Like, so I used to ask him about his last relationship. Like, what was it about her? What happened? And I was asking questions genuinely because I really, if she did something to hurt him, I would never want to repeat that.
Right.
And men don't just come out and be like, yeah, well, she hurt me. She did it. Because, that's not, it wouldn't be a bad thing to say how you feel, but men don't generally do that.
Correct.
So, because I was trying to get more detail about the heart of him, but I didn't realize that it was because of the timing that the issue. I had asked him some questions before, but I guess because it was a rocky time that
Right.
you were like, you asked me all these questions.
Correct. Well, I mean, that always matters because just like when you're reading something in the book, the context of what you're reading, like when did it happen? Who are they talking to?
Right.
Where are they? Because
Right.
something that means something here in Florida might mean something different in California or New
Correct.
York or
Correct.
Ohio or wherever.
Right.
So that matters. You know what I mean? And I know you probably never thought about it that way before.
No. So, but how would you tell a woman to, if she wanted to ask questions to get to know her husband, to know like his heart, really?
Well, all I would say is even if the times are not the best, you can still ask, but I would make sure to include the caveat like, listen, I'm not trying to be nosy. I'm trying to be a better wife or better whatever for you at this time. Just throw that in there. So because if you don't communicate that, how do I know?
Right.
Especially if we're not getting along the best at that time. So
Right. Well, here's the thing. The funny thing is now I would think about that.
right.
But back then, that didn't even cross my mind.
Correct.
I didn't think about the fact that it could come across as nosy or
Right.
invasive or anything. I just thought you just didn't want to answer a question.
I did.
Well, okay. So, how did you get to know me?
Well, really, I just listened because you talked a lot. So I just listened
Oh
to
my
what you
God,
said.
y'all gonna let him keep talking about me like this?
And you'll tell it eventually. Just I'll be quiet, listen long enough. You tell it.
That's what we're doing.
Is that not the case? You know when a joke get ready lie. I just let the voice get high. Maybe something. I don't know. Don't do it.
So, did you never ask questions?
Sometimes, but I don't think that was the norm. Because you used to get perturbed about why you don't want to know nothing. You want to ask me something. You remember asking me that after you interview me?
Why he called the interview,
You
y'all?
get tired of asking questions, like, you don't want to ask me nothing? I'm like, no, I'm tired of talking. You don't ask me 1,000 questions. Let's take a break.
So here's another thing. When you are married to somebody and one person likes to talk and the other person doesn't, or one person introvert, one person extrovert, those things matter how your dynamics flow.
Right.
Because he was like, ooh, pump the brakes. Like,
There's a lot.
and so he talks more now, but it's in spurts. And but see, now he can be like, girl, if you don't hush, or I need a break. He'll just say those things now that you wouldn't say before.
Well, and I'm probably more accustomed to it now because, like you said, our dynamics was different. So growing up in my household, we didn't talk really a lot. Like everything that we talked about was something that was
Like just
pertinent to right. Like, did you clean up today? Or do you need a ride to practice? Or do you know what I'm saying? It was like that. It wasn't just like, hey, how you doing today? How was your day? How do you feel? Like that was never something that was going on in my household. That wasn't.
so. Do you think that that played a part too in you in a relationship?
Of course. Not to mention the way I was raised was like, that's not really important. You need to get the things that's the main things done and worry about other junk later. You know what I mean?
But the funny because just because you said that, I remember times when you were like, it don't matter how I did it or why I did it, I did it. So you
Right.
got it done.
Get it done.
And I was like, baby, I don't feel like you love, but you like, who cares? Like, just do it. And
Nah.
it took a lot of shoveling some dirt to get around that
I was
stuff.
raised by a woman too. That's how I go.
Well,
I can't imagine being married to my mom like that. Boy, she's a mess.
all right. I saw a video the other day and they said when it says leave and cleave
Mhm.
and become one flesh, you know how they say at the wedding, people say, I gained a daughter, I gained a son.
Mhm.
They was like, that's actually incorrect.
Correct.
You know, you're now, they now have their own
Nuclear family.
nuclear family.
Yes.
And people get offended by that because you have the mother-in-law want to come and chime in and say,
Well, that's always a problem, especially, well, I start to say with newly married people, but I think every marriage that don't have boundaries and limitations, family has definitely a tendency to overstep
right, right, right,
and put their 2 cents in. When you
right,
don't live with the people, you don't know what they got going on, but you steady telling somebody what to do.
right, right, right. Well, we're talking about leave and cleave.
Hmm.
I know that um, boundaries
Very important.
are vitally important. And also, a good rule of thumb is the person whose family that is doing the infraction should be the one to address
Correct.
said family. Because if my mom or dad was doing something disrespectful to you, it can be right, but if Cedric says it, it can easily be saying he's being disrespectful,
Right.
he's belittling me, he's doing whatever. But when you're talking about when Cedric said, I mean, when I say it, they're still going to love me as their child,
Right.
so it comes across different. So if it is you that if it's your family that is being disrespectful to your spouse, you have to address it.
Right. Because they'll give you the benefit of the doubt and they'll show you grace. Other person, not so much.
What happens if the family member does not address it and their disrespect becomes great? Or the boundaries are
Well, I mean, it's a recipe for disaster because everybody gets to a point where enough is enough. You know what I mean? And you don't want to have that kind of strife between your family and your spouse
right.
because not everybody's going to pick their spouse over their family, which they're supposed to, but that don't mean that's what they're going to do.
Ooh,
You know what I mean? Like you've been with your family your whole life.
yeah.
And I've heard in-laws say that, like, well, y'all been married a few years, but she been my daughter my whole life.
Oh, and she will always be my daughter.
Right.
Yeah.
And she will always be your daughter, but she's under new management at this point.
I'm in love under new management.
It's been a buyout. You out of there. So you no longer have the controlling shares to run the company.
That is so difficult for families. That's probably one of the biggest things
It is.
in-laws to have boundaries.
Boundary limitations.
Okay, where we at?
You didn't do this one right here.
Okay, go ahead.
The what are some practical separators couples need to guard against? Because we already talked about leaving father and mother and establishing your new nuclear family. And you just talked about dishonoring or disrespecting family and parents. So not saying that.
What's the question again? I don't understand.
What are some practical separators couples need to guard against? So what we're talking about is family overstepping their bounds is one thing that can drive a wedge between you and your spouse.
Right.
Because like I said, you don't always pick your spouse. Sometimes you pick your family,
Right.
even though you're not supposed to.
Ooh, so I've never thought about the separators.
Mm,
Friends are separators as well.
that's correct.
Friends and I would say single friends, but not all single friends are like that. But
So marriages too.
yeah, married people that's unhappy. Married people that's unhappy.
Yeah.
Single people that are unhappy or wish that you wouldn't have gotten married
Or don't respect your relationship.
or don't respect your spouse too.
Yeah.
Because I don't think he's good enough for you. I don't think he do enough for you. I don't think. And so those are the kind of people that, first of all, when things go awry,
Yeah.
You should not be going to them, because they're not going to lead you back to the word of God. They're not going to lead you back to your spouse. They're going to be trying to get you to go do some foolishness.
I saw a video a week back, maybe a week or so. I thought it was so awesome. It was three young ladies, and they were on the Ring camera, and they were like, this was her first night out as a married lady, and we got her back home by 11 o'clock. And they were singing, she's married now. She's married now. Or something, she's a wife.
Yeah,
Whatever they were
yeah,
saying. I thought
right.
that was so awesome because her girlfriend made sure she got her butt home on time. Because you
But
married now.
now, somebody would say, "What you mean?" Hey,
Yeah.
Kente. Somebody would say, "What you mean you got her home on time?"
Got her home on time.
So you feel like the wife or the spouse should have a curfew?
Well, if her husband wants her to be home by a certain time, then that's what you need to do. Tell
Now,
where you
when
go.
when do you have those conversations about?
Well, hopefully you have them before you get married. That would be the ideal time, but
Some of the stuff you don't think about before you get married.
correct.
Oh, let me put a pin in something real quick.
Look, you know that happened between us, remember?
Yes.
Okay.
Um, one of the panels I was on the other week,
Mhm.
actually last week, the girl said that she she submits to her husband,
Mhm.
and I had said something about me, cooking and doing the stuff that I do, and she said it's because she wanted to do it. Now, if he was demanding to do it, she would not be doing it. And I said, and you say you're a Christian, yes, but if he is requiring it, then I'm not doing it.
But he don't require it. The Bible requires it.
But I'm saying, this is what she was saying. Like, if he's requiring me to do something, then I'm not doing it.
So you're not
It has
submitting
to be.
then.
That's what I said to her, and she was like, "Yes, if he's
Yeah.
if he is telling you to do that, he wants breakfast
Right.
or whatever." I said, if that's
If
not,
you're
especially if
doing
that's a
something that you want to do, that's not submitting, because submitting means I'm doing what I don't want to do, but I'm doing it because you're asking me or telling me to do it. That's the very definition of submitting.
Look at Kid J talking about we his two favorite people in black people in Florida.
Well, they might,
You know some white ones, Kid J?
they might do.
Listen, so but I couldn't get her to understand that this is what people don't get. And let's talk about submission for just a moment. And I know y'all don't like this word. I don't understand it, but y'all don't like it. I got this thing all crazy.
Listen, the better word for what she doing is volunteering. That's what she doing.
Volunteering.
Yes, because when you doing something you don't like, me volunteering, you just leave or don't do it. That now, if you got a job and you working, you gonna do what people tell you to do,
Right.
whether you like it or not, because you want to get that paycheck.
Right.
So again, that's not submitting.
He said, unfortunately, I do know some. So here's the thing. Now y'all get my brain away again. Okay. Submitting. Okay. Okay, don't judge me, y'all. It's been a lot going on. So I'm trying to get her to understand that submission is not a bad thing.
So,
But we have to learn what the biblical definition of submission is.
right.
And I had another life coach that said, if your minister, church pastor, or marriage counselor is telling you love, honor, and obey the out of the will of God, we was like, well, what kind of Bible is she reading? Because you can't disobey and submit. How do you disobey and submit? That's
Correct.
not submission.
It's not.
You cannot have submission without obedience.
Right.
Now, people say, well, if he gives me something to submit to, there's not clauses or addendums that go. Now, in legal contracts, you can get a clause, you can get an addendum, you can get all this kind of stuff that go. But in real life,
But the same thing about being a Christian. If you want to be a Christian, then you have to do submit to the will of God.
correct.
And there's times that you're praying for stuff and you don't get an answer. So at that point, are you not submitting because you didn't get something to submit to?
Mm. Or if God tells you that to do something you don't want to do,
Right.
which is something frequently when He's trying to stretch us and grow us, He's telling us to do stuff that we don't
Oh,
want
that
to
wasn't
do.
God. That was that devil.
I don't know why we
Even
automatically
behind me,
assume.
Satan,
Yes,
because it's something I don't want to do.
right. Well, so submission again is not a bad thing. The problem is we have an issue with submission because submission
But
goes against our flesh.
the thing is,
I like this.
what? I don't see it.
Thing is what?
Situational submission. Yeah, for sure. The thing is,
Situation of submission is not submission.
once you submit, you're happier, you have joy, you feel better because you're in your natural role. That's how God designed you and made you to do.
Right.
When you're not submitting, you're doing something you're not supposed to, and you're not designed to carry that and to be that.
Right. T Marie, I just was talking about how we had somebody, it was her room the other day, and they said that they submit because it's what they want to do. But if they don't, if he mandated her to do something or required it, then she would not be doing it. And I was like, that
ain't
and
submission.
he was like, that's not submission, because we don't get to pick and choose what we submit to.
Right.
And I always use the Mr. and Mrs. Potato Head model. When you think about, yeah, and the Kente says situational submission. We don't get to say, I will if you do this, or if it makes me feel good. Like, I think that's society.
Well, but the other thing that you miss as well is that doesn't grow the relationship. Because if I know if I ask you to do something, you're only going to do it if you want to do it, and that you're not going to sacrifice or listen to me when I ask you to do something, that means you don't trust me. So that means that our relationship can't grow and it can't go to the next level, because you can't grow and love somebody more that doesn't trust you or think you're not adequate or equipped enough to be a leader and be submitted to.
So the lack of submission shows a lack of trust.
Right.
So, ladies, when you're not submitting, you're not trusting, because you don't feel like he can really lead you properly.
So then the $1 million question is, why would you marry somebody you don't trust? That makes no sense. That's just like when you have kids, you don't take your kids over people's house you don't trust. Is that correct?
Yes. And let me tell you what else I heard. Well, I think we heard this when the lady said that she got married, but she does not trust her husband to discipline her children. And I said, so he can't discipline them, but you're leaving them open for anything.
No, but this is the thing. So he can pay for them, but can't discipline them. How does that make sense?
We didn't say it had to make sense. We're just telling you what has been heard unto us.
They both should have stayed single. That's no bueno.
So what is it? Why do people get married and they know that they not really?
That's the thing. People get married, but don't really want to be married in the practical sense. They want the title and the benefits, but don't want to operate in that. They're just like somebody that want to be a manager. They want the manager money, but they don't want the manager to do this.
Right.
Let somebody else do it. Just pay me the money and give me the title.
Right.
That's not how it works.
Well,
but you can't do that and then expect the marriage to flourish. Not going to flourish, not going to progress, it's not going to be great. That's why so many people talk so badly about marriage, because number one, you're not doing it the way you're supposed to, the way the Bible tells you. And number two, you got married with the wrong motives. What can I get? What lifestyle can I have? What benefits can I do? Can I have him pay the bills and I keep my money and go on girl trips and do this and buy these purses and all this other mess?
Listen, and speaking of girl trips, listen, what is the fascination with all the married women want to go on girl trips and frequent girl trips too?
All the time. That's crazy. Ain't no way. If you want to do that, you need to be single.
Can anybody tell me why all the married women want to go on girl trips?
Stay going somewhere.
And I'm not saying that you won't have a girls trip, but to have a plethora
every time you turn around,
and then like
new.
And here's the thing: you wonder why
nobody home.
Your spouse is not happy or not connected to you, but you go.
No, but this is the other $1 million question. You stay going on the girls' trips, right?
Right. Team Marie, what we say every once in a while it's fine, but there's a big phenomenon where there's a lot of wives that I don't know if it's every other month, every month they're going on huge girl trips. None of those trips you want to take with your spouse?
Once a quarter at least. But it's the thing, you going all the time, and then when you're home, the attitude spanking.
You're spanking.
You don't want to give none, but then when somebody cheating on you, you looking crazy like you don't know. I can't believe it. How can you not?
You know that put me in mind of Mary Mary.
Everything you're doing is wrong.
Tina said that when she found out Teddy was cheating, she was upset. And one of the things he said when they went to counseling was, when you leave out of here, when you're home, her thing is when she home, she just relax. She ain't got no makeup on, no clothes, nothing like that.
AKA looking crazy.
But then when she's on tour, when he see her on TV, he is like
She all dolled up.
dolled up, looking good, body snatch. I'm sure she in the waist trainer, the whole nine. And then you come home, you too tired, you got to deal with children. Like, if you don't feed an infant, it will not be alive later on. You don't have to abuse it. You just have to not feed it, not nurture it. So same thing goes for your marriage. If you don't feed it, if you don't nurture it and love on it and hug it and kiss it and
Well, listen, that's the thing though. It ain't even that. There are studies done that even if you feed an infant,
oh
but
yes,
if you don't
get
touch it,
physical touch.
you right, spend time with it, it will have severe developmental delays,
And then
physical problems, and then eventually, like you said, unalive because the physical and emotional development is so important. And that means touching, spending time with it, like that kind of thing.
right,
Because they fed it, they just didn't any physical touch and it didn't make it.
right.
So the same thing with your marriage. It has to be tended to.
I think people think that the wedding is the prize. That's the end all. That's the goal line. They think that if I get married, then that's all I got to do.
It's funny. It seems the more they spend on the wedding, the shorter the
But
duration of the marriage.
that's statistics.
Yeah.
Like the people that spend the most on the wedding, them weddings be 50 cent. I mean, they would be 10 minutes
They'll be
long.
married for
I said
right
wedding, marriage be
6 months.
And the funny thing is, I was looking. My sister and her husband have been married for 45 years. Come Saturday coming up, and I was looking at their wedding album, and one of the things that I saw, they did have a large wedding. She didn't have on makeup. She, like it was like she did her own hair. It's a beautiful wedding dress and all that stuff. But I was just thinking, like, people think that the more money you spend on the wedding, I'm showing everybody else, but there was no
Right.
development to the relationship.
Because that shows you where the focus is. The focus is on the wedding. I've been wanting to have a big wedding. That's great, but what about relationship after the wedding?
We have to make sure that we do. I'm going to be a big advocate right this minute for premarital counseling.
Mhm.
People think that and don't go into premarital counseling with already having your ideas of I'm going to get married anyway.
Mm.
I've learned that people have the wedding plan, the dress, everything paid for, because even if you see that it's not your person, you're not likely to
Well, that means you need to do it before you do all that. When you're thinking about getting married, you need to have the counselor before you start making the plans and deposits on venues and all that kind of thing.
yes.
Because I don't know if I tell you about, my mom's friend, the one that over the bank,
Uh-huh.
their son's divorced. Remember they rent out the whole castle at the Disney and all that.
Again, if you spend more money and focus on the wedding than you do on, do I know who I'm getting married to? That's the time to find out if this person is women. If you're talking about you'll submit, if that's the time to find out who you're talking about.
Right.
That's the time to ask the questions about what is his vision? Does he know how to lead?
Right.
But truth being told, he didn't know how to lead, and I didn't know how to be a wife. Like, we didn't know those things.
Right.
But ask God, is that your person? Because, and is it the right timing? See, there's the thing. It can be the right person, wrong time.
Right.
Is this the right person? And is this the right timing? Because it's going to take God and some old people to make this thing go smoothly in your life.
Right. You skip this page here?
No,
Yeah, I
no.
did. That's my fault because I read this part up here. It's
Oh,
supposed to
yeah.
be this one.
That's fine.
Yeah.
So we're going to do,
I messed up your little system.
it's not a system. I'm not even going to go over all this stuff. So what do you want to say?
The one flesh union means decisions, dreams, finances, and futures become shared. Division, secrecy, and isolation chip away at unity. What practices help couples maintain unity? Now, side note, I always think about the story you told. I forget where you said you were about the pastor's wife was telling the women to keep a side thing of money just in case
Yes,
things don't work out and all this
yes,
mess.
yes. Well, so the question was, what practices help couples maintain unity? I say dating,
Hmm.
intentional dating, intentional conversations,
Right.
like even having dinner together, sitting at a table and having dinner. So many people pass. Um, you eat on the couch watching TV, I eat in my, and then we just kind of like passing and doing,
Right.
being intentional to sit, whether it's dinner, how was your day? Um, yeah, what else would you say?
Well, yeah, well, eating dinner, but you have to talk at those dinners. You have to have some discussions, meaningful discussions, not just, it was cold outside. What about that rain?
Well, I guess because we've always had those.
Well, I'm saying that a lot of people don't do that. That's why I don't take that for granted. Because some people will eat together, but they don't say anything or they don't talk about anything that's of meaning. And I
No
know,
phones at the dinner table.
right, but I know the Bible talks about knowing your spouse and operating with them in wisdom. That's one thing is to have the attitude that I want to get to know them and be better for them and be a better servant because we don't have that attitude, men or women, because marriage is a ministry. It's your
Yes,
first ministry. So the whole thing about being a minister is you're a servant.
right,
So if I'm a servant to God first and then to you, I make sure all your needs are met. Then you make sure all my needs are met. Guess what? Everybody needs are met.
right.
Everybody is fulfilled, and you go from there.
Well, I don't. I keep forgetting that everybody does not have conversations, meaningful conversations.
That's correct.
But the other part of that is you have to like. I know a lot of married women that don't like their spouse.
Yeah. Well, I mean, there's times you may not be,
I'm not saying have a
yeah,
moment, but I'm saying
not a prolonged season.
they.
I ain't like them for a year,
That's a long time.
10 years.
Like I know people that they don't like them. They're just like, and it's transactional at that point.
But again, if you don't like somebody and it's been a prolonged thing, why'd you marry them?
And they'll say they're not the person that I want. The new thing is I've grown and developed, and he has not.
Well, that's not true. Everybody grows.
I'm just saying they're saying they're far ahead. They feel like whether it's education or they're who they are is far above, not
Well,
above, beyond who they are.
you already messed up. You talk about education ain't got nothing to do with relationship.
I'm saying they're saying that this is what I've heard, that I've got more degrees, I've been back to school,
Yeah.
I'm bettering myself, and
All that's saying is that you spent time with everybody but your spouse because you've been in school, you've been at school. You come home, you ain't trying to spend no time with your spouse. You know what I mean? And you've
yes,
done this and done that.
yeah,
You've been at work late. You've been doing everything to grow everything but your relationship with your spouse. And that's what I say about education is back in the day, our people had far less education, but the
right.
relationships were far better.
Well,
They were committed
why you think so?
because they were committed. There was a commitment. And they knew the thing about it is our mindset about things have changed so much over the years. And I
Exactly.
think the importance of family alone is not as important as because now everything is self, it's me. How can I get ahead? How can I do me? Where our people sacrifice for the family. They were thinking about the grandkids, legacy, the great grands. You know what I mean?
Right, right,
And they knew that the family staying together was more important
right.
than
See, Marie.
them doing whatever.
Right,
Because families is what has always helped our communities be strong.
right.
We can do more together than apart. Like farms are run by families.
How do we get back to that? Because all you see now is me, 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 me,
Yeah,
me,
well,
me,
you
me,
got to
me, me.
unplug from society because that's all. Everything is about me. Now you get married. Don't forget your to self help and the self love and the self this, self that.
And so here's the thing: if you say certain things, people be like, "Oh, you trying to say I can't help myself?" So self care is a new thing now,
Right.
and no one ever says you don't need self care.
Right.
Okay. However, when self care becomes too much, it becomes self-sabotage. And
Right.
self-sabotage can mess up your marriage
And
because
selfish.
make you selfish. Because while you're saying every time something is uncomfortable is self-care.
Right.
Oh, well, self-care, self-care. No, your husband is saying, baby, I need you to do XYZ or, whatever. Oh, self-care. They told me you was gonna want me not to care for myself. I
Mhm.
remember somebody that we were talking about growing and changing as a person, and the young lady was like, "Well, who am I? I'm losing myself. I don't even know me." Well, who you are probably not a nice person right now.
Right.
You gotta go from a single mindset. Why do people keep popping up? A single mindset
Right.
to a married
You
mindset.
can't be married without losing some parts of yourself. You have to. That's the only way you can be successful in marriage.
Because single mindset is not. You can't have two single mindsets in marriage.
Well, that for two people to become one flesh, they have to lose some parts of them. You can't put two wholes together and be one like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It don't work. So
Hey,
that's what the
Sean.
Bible talks about.
Right. Well, the thing I don't get is that we want what we see in other people,
Mm,
but we do not want to do the work.
right.
And that's where I really want to, drive home tonight. We see couples and granted, your life will not look like someone else's life. It
Right.
will not. But if you want to have a successful marriage, and success is not um
Success is relative to everybody.
right, then you have to put in the work.
Mm,
And you can't just say, well, I'm getting married and I'm be a great wife. And what are you doing to do that? Like I asked someone, what makes you a great wife or a godly wife or what? And when I tell you, they were like,
crickets.
I don't, well, but
Well, that's the thing. But it's not just with marriage. People have that attitude toward work. I go to work, be like, well, I ain't doing all that. But
it don't take all that.
but they ask you to do it. They paying you. You're not here volunteering, like they paying you. You telling the people what you ain't gonna do at work, and
Exactly.
they do that all the time.
All the time.
So what you think they gonna do for something that's free? Because that look, and they were like, I thought this was gonna be easy. That take too much work to be married.
That's why people listen. That's why people jump ship. People get mad at me about this saying, but
It's hard.
people are talking about they follow this person, that person who was married and got divorced, right? And they got good points and they got good this and good that. I hear you. Here's my thing on that, right?
Mm,
I don't want to talk to the person who the boat was sinking and I just let it sink.
right.
I want to talk to the person who the boat was sinking. There was some holes in the boat. It was some water coming on the boat. We say this, I almost let go, who almost got to the bottom, but they learned how to patch the holes, get the water out, and rebuild that boat to something better than it was originally.
Hmm.
So I failed before at marriage. As
Right.
he told you, I've been married before. I failed before at marriage. And so I can do self reflection and tell you things that I need to do better. I'm not saying you can't do that. But when you're a married person and you're trying to figure out how not to let this boat sink, when you see holes in the boat,
Mm,
when you see water coming on, and I don't even have the energy to want to scoop the water out the boat.
right.
I don't even like him anymore. But that whole like thing is relative as well, too, because I remember the time I told God I ain't in love with him no more. And God said, you better fall back in love. We often tell God about what we feel. It's not about our feelings.
Nope.
And the shift really came in our relationship when I decided to say yes to my position, my role. And I know y'all don't like those gender roles, but they work and they make your marriage work. I'm just telling you, having saying I submit to you makes the marriage feel different. I don't know. It just
Made it feel right.
You said make it feel right?
Yeah, because it's the way it's supposed to be. And the crazy part is, I know you put the term general, but in anything that happens in the ecosystem in the world, everything has a role.
Right.
And when things don't play their role, that's when we get in trouble.
You're right. You're right. And I'm just telling y'all, I bucked against the word submission because I thought it was something different
Mhm.
because of what was taught. I wasn't even 100% clear on submission, but because people had talked down to it so much
Yeah.
about it, I thought that that was,
Well, yeah. Anytime you hear negative slant on something so much, you think it's negative too.
well, I'm just going to tell you.
As you say submit, and people get get them screw face get twisted up. Submit.
So listen, when they're talking about you, the husband and the wife becoming one,
Mhm.
that's one of the best things you can do.
Yeah.
When they talk about sacrificing the single mindset for the married mindset, that's one of the best things you can do. Investing in your spouse, and I ain't talking about monetary investment, your time, getting to know them. I remember on a couple of occasions we've asked a husband or a wife, what is your husband or wife like? What's their favorite color? And they had absolutely no idea. You know what that told
People
me?
that been married for a long time.
And you know what that told me? You've been married in numbers,
Right.
but you have not gotten to know them intimately. You don't know, like, there's some things that happen that I be like, oh, I ain't telling Sarah that because I know that ain't gonna go well. You know what I'm saying? Like, or let me get some of this worked out first because I know how you operate and how you think. I know what things you think are disrespect.
Right.
And so if I say, hey, this happened, blah, 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 you're gonna go from 0 to 100. I know those things that make you go from 0 to 100.
Right.
So there's been times the situation happened, and I'm gonna tell you about it, but I gotta let someone hey, nah,
Mhm.
listen. If somebody's bothering me, I know what's going on. If somebody's bothering me, I know that um I have to be careful on to some things I can just let that can just go. I might tell you later. But it depended on what it is, how I tell you. I know you. But that's because we spent time together. We've had conversations. I've seen you act. I've seen you move.
Right.
But had I not,
Mhm.
and just tell you random stuff,
Right.
we was telling our son, because something happened one time, somebody was bothering me, and my son was there. Cedric was parking the car, and my son said, "Why you ain't calling and tell me?" He was in the gymnasium. He was on the other side. I said, "Because you're gonna crash out, but you're not gonna assess the entire situation.
Right.
You were a senior in high school. I know that you would have crashed out. You wouldn't ask no questions. I knew that Cedric, when he came up, would ask questions or would assess the situation.
Right. So
So, what would be your thing for men to in this whole leave and cleave right now to their wives? What would you leave them with?
leaving Cleve. Well, again, it's important to know your spouse and to invest, like you said, but that time, which is your most precious resource. I know sometimes they can get on your nerves and not be the most enjoyable thing, but once you get to know your spouse and you get to that certain level of relationship, it's worth it. Trust me.
When do you think we turn? Okay, I know. Okay, there's a different corner. There's a few corners that we turned. We're gonna just go over that
A
real
few
quick.
corners,
We turned a few.
been in corners like a curve, huh?
We've been, yes. So we have turned some corners.
Mhm.
The first 5 years was a corner.
Yeah.
5 through 10 was a corner.
Hmm.
I know 10 we really turned a corner. I
I
remember.
think after year probably 14 or so was a corner with the kids
Okay.
because we had some different opinions about
Okay, I'm saying, but
how to handle that.
so
So we were on the same page for the most part after that. I think
okay.
that was just a
So
different
about
corner.
what I'm saying about that's about year 14 you said?
Yeah, but that was just for the kids. I think
We didn't have to label what the corner was. We just talked about the corner.
I'm just saying Mhm.
So I'm saying what hey Kimberly, how you doing, love? So when we turn the final corner,
Mhm.
what does that corner look like? What did it come with for you?
Uh, I don't know. That's a very difficult question. I think I would say peace, but I had peace before that. But I'll just say more peace,
Okay.
more. I don't know, more. I don't want to say trust because I trust you before that, but I don't know. It's hard to say. It was just
I know I put him on the spot, y'all.
more good stuff.
So I would say it came with more fun for us. And
Yeah,
then I felt like we came to like we've always been silly and whatever, but I felt like it came to a level up where we can really enjoy one another.
yeah.
Sometimes it's just sitting together. Sometimes it is pillow fighting. You know what I'm saying? Like I think that we're not getting offended by something that's done. Like it was, I don't know what fell off.
Well, you say it like that. I think more um times of just being together without anything, like not having to be doing something or talking per se, but just
Yeah.
kind of together. You know what I mean? That's I don't know. Hard to.
No, but I used to hear people say I just want to be in your presence.
Mhm.
Sorry, y'all. People say I just want to be in your presence.
Really, just gonna start yawning
I said sorry.
and be contagious and try to get me to yawn.
I didn't really. Here's the thing: if you don't know what healthy looks like, healthy can scare you.
Well, yeah, especially if you're used to always having something going on and nothing's happening.
I was talking to somebody tonight, and we were talking about there are a level of quite a few relationships that are being presented as the relationship, but they have to do everything together. Like
Hmm. I don't think some people gonna like what you got to say about that.
we do a lot of things together because we enjoy each other's company, but
Right,
I don't have to have you
right,
hold my hand for everything or like
right. And like you going swim, coming too.
right.
Yeah.
And I think that
Although it's almost like that because you be wanting me to go.
well, I want you to go,
Right.
but like I went the other night to the Christmas pajama thing with the ladies.
Mhm.
I didn't say you had to,
No, no, I'm just
you
saying.
know what I'm saying? Like
Right.
I'm saying, but in that situation, it would be like a you gonna
Of course.
do this, do that. And I think what messes us up is that we, especially when these people are somebody that we look up to, they can mislead people
They
into
can.
what
Yeah.
healthy looks like.
That's true. But that's why we said every relationship has to have its own version of their reality.
But I get that, but there's still because I heard somebody say before, well, this works for them. But this works for them doesn't mean it's healthy.
No, not at all.
So I want to clarify that saying something works for you does not mean it's absolutely healthy.
Right. I was just simply saying that the dynamics of everybody's relationship would be different, but at the same time, there are certain themes and principles that you will see in all relationships that are healthy and going in the right directions.
Right. Because I hear people, I when you address some things that are out of balance, I hear people saying it works for them. No, unhealthy is unhealthy. I don't care if they've been married for people been married for a long time that got unhealthy relationships.
But the funny thing is, all the couples that we've dealt with, the people who we heard say that, it always comes back that they having big problems.
Well, we knew that though.
Well, we did, but they didn't. But now they know.
R-
They fat folk. So they didn't want to listen to us, but they
It's
listen.
funny.
Life has a way of getting your attention.
T Marie, you want to come and say something before we close out of here and give us your feedback before we close out of this joint? I know that
You're gonna learn one way or another.
I know that trying to say I need my driver. I'm a passenger princess. No, ma'am.
Hmm?
LaShawn talking about she need. I need my driver. I'm a passenger princess.
What they got to do with your?
That mess that somebody got to drive you and take you, pick you up. You can't go.
Oh no,
Child.
no, ma'am.
No, ma'am.
Hey y'all.
Hey, girl.
I gotta talk fast because you know I got the grandbaby and she
All the way live.
runs the world around here.
I understand. Well, listen. I understand because of you, but not because of me. Because I don't have any grandbabies.
Yeah, honey. We got this one and this 3-year-old right here. Lord Jesus.
Listen, I let you have that. I let you have that life, girl. Because I am
I
not.
know that's right.
Well, we don't have any grandbabies, and I ain't mad.
No.
Oh, I know that's right. Listen, I wouldn't give her back, but I don't want no more at this moment.
Listen, and I understand that if they came, I'm sure I would feel that way as well.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
would
yeah,
too.
yeah.
To the
That's
time to
really
go back with your
important.
mama.
I think it's good. I think that's an important part that you brought out. That just because something works doesn't mean that it's not toxic. Just
Right.
Yes.
because you say it doesn't work, or it does work, or whatever. And if something is contrary to scripture, it's never going to work. And in
Right.
Yes.
scripture, it's going to work its way out, regardless of however it goes. I've seen people where when you have the dominant, woman, the Ahab man, and then they say, "Well, it works for us, but it doesn't work."
No.
It works until it doesn't, and then
Right.
everything falls
There
apart.
you go.
And then, yeah,
But sometimes they stay married for a long time, and that's what they classify as it works.
But it still don't mean it's working. Because if you married and miserable, is it working?
period.
But they've learned how to put on a unified front that it's good.
Listen, you can make your mouth say anything, but you can feel the vibe and you can tell by their spirit that their spirit is broken, is not there. So you can say whatever you want, but spirit touches spirit. You know you ain't right.
You know, funny thing, T Marie, I was telling Cedric, there's been times we'll meet couples and they're just talking and everything is wonderful, wonderful. And I told Cedric, I said, something is off. Everything presents
Right.
well, but I tell him something is off. And have I ever missed?
Mm-mm.
Team Reed, I ain't trying to act like I'm a know all, but I don't that part of it I don't miss. I know.
I just seen your I just seen that eyebrow go up.
Yeah.
Look, I try to fix my face, but it don't always work.
She
Yeah.
be like, and then she do the, I said, oh.
Listen, I try my best not to.
Yeah.
Listen, I try my best to not respond,
Right.
but the
I
more they,
understand.
the more they talk,
They just keep coming out. You just
I
tell.
was like, you making it worse.
Mm-hmm.
When that lady was talking, I ain't gonna even mention it because I
Uh
don't know if she's whatever. But
huh.
that other lady that was talking, it was so funny because your face was like it was playing a cadence. It was.
And I was on camera too.
Yeah.
Jesus, I should have went non-camera.
Be careful, Samara.
Right.
It
Put
was
the picture up there.
funny. But I think it's important to understand that, like you guys brought out a good point that once, you get to the premarital, because I never even, until you said that, I never thought about premarital counseling to determine whether the person is or not.
Yep.
I've always thought, okay, we've decided this is what we're going to go do. Now we come to premarital counseling to kind of give us the tools to go to the next step. But I've never thought about that. Like, I've never thought, like, what if the counselor says, y'all not supposed to be together? Like, I've never thought about that.
Well, we've never okay, so we've never said you're not supposed to be together, but we kind of lay it out to say like you get to see the pros and the cons of this person. And what happens is you start to see that we really shouldn't be. Like when we talk about kids or talk about church or marriage or anything, it starts to be different. And so in those situations, then you like, ooh, well, maybe this person, hey Veronica, this person is not the right person for me. So I let them lay it out themselves. But we had one couple that came to us before they got engaged. They came to us before they got engaged, and at the end of that, they decided that they were not good for each other.
Right.
We didn't tell them that, but we know how to ask a series of questions that make you say stuff out loud. People don't like to say I'm a cheater or I steal or I'm a liar because they that makes them sound bad. But
Right.
but when you say it out loud, so then when we ask the questions and you have to answer them out loud, it's like, ooh, look, ooh.
Right.
So you
Well,
if
I've done it. I've said on a Wednesday, a couple that now this back in the day. I don't do it anymore because I'm no longer married. So,
right,
but I met with a couple on that Wednesday. Now this is horrible. By that Thursday, they got married. Announced it on Facebook because I refused to marry them. We both, my pastor and I both, because if they asked me to it, I said no. Then they went to him and he said no. So they did it, and within 3 months, I believe, she lost her house. Her house was going into foreclosure. He then tore up her car. He then she didn't have a job no more. Then she got pregnant with a special needs baby.
Wow.
That was it was a lot that he skipped out on, and now it's a whole big situation with all of it. And it's like it man, I'm telling you, it is the situation is still complicated.
Yeah.
but
It went bad just like that, like so
but
bad.
listen, here's the
It was
thing.
the craziest.
Now look how simple this was. She did it right, knowing it wasn't good, and
Uh-huh.
and all the things that came with that are now
Mm-hmm.
her having this child and the things she has to deal with leaving her losing her house. Those are done. Those are not something that you could just push a button and hit reset.
Right.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Mhm.
Absolutely.
R-
So, I think that that's important. And then another part that you brought up was the work that goes into it. Sometimes we think that once we
Yeah.
get to the ceremony, or even when we get through certain years, because I
Yeah.
can remember getting to year 15, year 16, 17, I thought we was coasting.
Mhm.
Year 18, a whole Armageddon happened.
Wow.
Year
Yeah.
22, we're completely divorced. Year 30, I walk by that man, I don't even know who he is.
Oh.
Wow.
So it's a continual work. If you do not continually,
Have to.
do a work in it and, coming out, I've learned a lot of stuff in the process of, doing it. Some things, blows up and then you get it. And sometimes you get a chance to patch it up and do it again, and sometimes you don't.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
But that's what I really want y'all to do. When y'all gonna do that show, I want to understand the biblical interpretation on what divorce and remarriage is, because I've heard so
oh my
many
God. Okay,
teachers.
so T Marie, I'm with you. I told my husband that
That's what I want to know.
because I heard some people say that once you get married and you get divorced, you're still married to your first husband, right?
Mhm.
To your husband. But then I was like, then my thing is like, okay, so what happens if the person didn't know that? First of all, like the scripture,
Mhm.
and then secondly, like Cedric and I have already married, right? So what happens now? You know what I'm saying? Like just have had a revelation right now, huh?
I said, what happened? So, like I said, year 22, my ex-husband stopped talking. No, year 18, he stopped talking. He decided he no longer wants to be married. So does that mean I have to be single for the rest of my life? Because he decided he no longer wants to be married? So I'm no longer supposed to ever be with anybody or anything? Like, I don't.
See,
That means
I
to
am.
me, you are an
I'm gonna
eternal
study.
fornicator.
Yeah.
That's it.
Uh, look at LaShawn talking about say. I'm sorry, my other page they said say what now? Right,
Yeah.
and so my thing was I'm like, Veronica said a couple things. She said she believed premarital counseling is highly beneficial and could prevent divorce if they listen is a good thing you said. And the other part was she said there's so many lives on that right now. So it is. I was going through it. They were talking about if a woman been married, then and she married again, she did. I mean
Yeah.
it's a super save room.
We'll get into
Look,
that.
hey, it's a super saver. I have some questions on that as well, and not had anybody that can really give me
Well,
biblical
because
stance. It's just their feelings.
the only thing is
Right.
the way that family structure and marriage was set up then is so much different than it is now. So there are some things that you have to extrapolate out from then that don't mean the
Yes, you got
same.
to.
You see what I'm saying?
Yes.
So we'll get into it.
Hey, hey,
Yeah.
hey! You better extrapolate out.
Yeah.
Listen, I forgot how smart he was. I promise you. I forgot. Extrapolate. I was like, I agree with everything you just said. What is the stop rate?
Listen, hey, T Marie, that's how he used to get me. I used to be like, so I got to use my context clues to know what extrapolate means.
I'm gonna let y'all know that is going to make its way into my vocabulary. I will
There
let
you
y'all
go.
know.
My kids said all the random words that he used to say. They start use that they tell me they SAT words would go on they
There you
what
go.
they say their papers or whatever.
Yeah.
Listen, and I you know here's another thing. When my kids was younger, he used to say we would get home and he would say disembark, and I was like, what? And he was like, it means get out. And I was like, I know, but they don't know what that means. And he said they'll learn.
Right.
And he continued to say disembark till the kids start saying disembark. They learn words because he used them in the proper context. But I was barking and bucking against the system instead of letting him lead the house. It was something simple, but it helped them learn a word that they would not have otherwise learned. Because I would have never used disembark ever, 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 ever. I wouldn't. Look, she said you got a smart one. I do have a smart husband, and you know, in the beginning, the smartness was a problem
Yeah.
because he would use all his big words in our arguments, and I'm like, I'm trying to use my context clues, but you can't give me 50 big words and one regular one. I don't know what you just said. And then this is what he would say. So I have to dummy it down.
Oh gosh.
Woo, you want to fight?
What?
Right, right. I was like, Ninja, what? Girl, listen, it's funny because my dad and my brother-in-law, they're all very smart like that too, but they have always been one that would break stuff down. But
Right.
when he realized that it was quite a few words
Mm.
that he used regularly, his mama was a principal too, y'all, used regularly,
Yeah.
that I had no idea what the devil he was talking about. I was like, say what? Smart dude say what?
Yeah.
Or a smart ninja say what?
Look, all them
And I
books come
think
in
once a
handy.
good, but see, I think that's a good dynamic when you start talking about like difference in relationships too, because
Right.
his smartness can challenge you
It
to
did.
go to the next level.
It
But
did.
if it's clouded with sarcasm, it can also make you feel inadequate
It
to
did.
where you
Look,
shut
it did
down.
all of that. It did.
So yeah, so the wisdom of being the leader and the wisdom of understanding is understanding how
Of
you
course.
use words, disembark and discombobulate and all these other stuff you're going to use to where everybody can do it and bring everybody there, but then keep everyone's
Correct.
they're intact.
But
So
I think that he said it. He said originally that he did it on purpose to be little. You
Right.
know what I'm saying?
mhm.
And so what he did too, though. But I think that when you saw how it made me feel when you were belittling me
Right.
over time, and then he was talking about because like I'm a person that can figure everything out.
Yeah.
Like you give it to me, I can figure something out. And so why can't you? I may not be able to use all the words you're using.
Right.
I can figure pretty much anything out, and I don't let stuff beat me. So then when he would tell me how smart I am, I'm thinking like, you just told me I was done. You just told me that you got to dummy it down and talk to me.
That's because we were having an argument.
Right, but I'm saying you learned from that
Of course.
and you didn't like well, I'm assuming because of I saw how you changed because you knew that how I felt and you could see my whole demeanor shift.
Right.
That's why we talk about the man being the head because
Well, I don't want you to feel less than because everybody is gifted in different areas.
correct.
So my job was to build you up in the areas that you were already gifted in and try to bring you along in other areas where you may not have been so much.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So
But originally you was just kicking me.
yeah, pretty much.
So much sense. But on the flip side of that, us as women,
Go ahead, us's.
us as
We
women
got you, girl.
also understanding that sometimes uncomfortability will make us grow.
Yes.
Of
So,
course.
Yes. Hey,
getting
TJ.
that word and getting to a point where it's just like, wait a minute, okay, well, let me get my dictionary, let me look at this, or
Right.
let me figure out what that word is, and then I remember because when I got ready to go into ninth grade, I wanted to take a chemistry class, and when I went in, I had to get signed in, and I went in to get the sign for me to get in there, and the guy told me black girls don't take chemistry. That's what he
Ooh.
told me. So I said, don't worry about my grade, sign the paper, and I'll show you my grade.
Mm.
he signed my paper. I went home. I told my mama. She was ready to blow up the school.
Yes, yes.
Right.
But she told me, she said, you can either let this beat you or you can beat him. What you gonna do?
Exactly.
And I went, not only did that, but the next thing they had to sign me in for advance the next year
Mm.
for something else. So, and he was the one who had to teach me because he was the one that had that.
Right.
So all 3 years that I took advance, he was my teacher. And at the end of it, he was like, "Well, I always knew you were smart. I just wanted to challenge you." He didn't. He thought I wasn't capable.
Look at my husband face.
He thought I wasn't capable, but I proved to him that I was.
Right.
Yeah, and I
So,
trust me, I understand about pushing, but that's where that balance is of knowing
it's a balance.
of knowing when to, because I think that a lot of times we'll say that's why we don't like a man to say something else. He trying to run me, he trying this. Well, there's some things that, like, if my husband tell me, like, I remember one time I told this story. We were at the movies. I had surgery, and my first time being out, I had a brace on from my thigh all the way down to my ankle,
Mhm.
and he kind of just pushed me behind him. Like, I ain't gonna say push. He took his hand and kind of guided me, but it was like a forceful thing because he didn't want me to fall. Of course, I just had surgery on my knee. I mean, something with my
It's your
ACL,
knee.
right?
Mhm.
And so but I found out later that there was this boy trying to fight this other boy with his parents and his dad, and he, first of all, didn't want me in this melee, but he had been watching. And see, that's what happens when you have a leader. They're watching the stuff that you're not watching. Sometimes women, we doing other stuff and looking at it. He was watching and seeing. He saw this boy walk back and forth.
Mhm.
Well, you can tell what you saw more I can.
Well, he was walking back and forth, and he was bothering this other young man that was with his family. And me paying attention, I knew that there was going to be some conflict uh, coming up soon. So to get her out of harm's way, he
But
wasn't paying attention.
But originally, when he pushed, I was like, "Dog," but I didn't say it. I didn't say it out loud. But as soon as I saw that he wasn't focused on me. He
Right.
was looking somewhere else, and I was like, "Now, look, the fact that if I'm one of the women that he got to explain why he did what he did
Right.
while trying to protect me, that can be problematic."
That could be dangerous.
Right, because if I got to tell you to get down and explaining why I'm telling you to get down,
Right.
because there's some
Right.
steel coming around my head, like, let let him do what God designed for him to do.
Right.
Let him lead, but we don't want to let the man lead.
Mm.
I don't know. It's very frustrating to me because the whole agenda now is to have broken families
Right.
and to have single mothers, and you know like, they don't put as much emphasis on, they like, don't let the man get your stuff, don't let him do whatever, but then it should be to your sons, don't give your seed out to just anybody, son.
Oh, correct.
oh, I teach that, man. When I tell you,
Yeah.
that is what. Listen, if a man doesn't care or if he doesn't see value enough to wipe you,
Right.
why would I allow him to have any cookies? For what?
Right.
But I'm just saying, like, we don't I heard you
And
say
then
it before, T. Marie.
the opposite side for my boys. What are you giving?
Exactly.
What are you doing? My son says all the time. The one son, the story, the one that's adopted. My one, his son is adopted. He got the most cuckooish person he could find, procreated, and then
Right.
he's sitting there acting crazy. But she was a good lady. But what
Right.
was the purpose?
Right. Now you're gonna pay for that for the rest of your life.
You're gonna pay for that,
Not
lady,
only in money, but in dealing with her.
and your peace too.
Exactly. So that's the
He paid
thing.
for it
It costs
because
you.
what ended up happening was it cost him his son
Yeah.
Oh,
because his son is adopted now in a great family. I'm able to have our side is able to have through me, but he has no because of a domestic altercation between the
Yep.
two of them and a TPR on him.
Right.
oh,
He can't even be nowhere near the place.
That's correct.
wow.
So yep, those things matter.
Well,
So yeah.
Yeah.
yeah,
Well, thank you guys. I
y-
appreciate you.
No,
yes, we're
thank
getting
you.
ready to go. Look at, he came on. He had his team he coaches too.
Got a game.
Had a game, and like, for him, he loves it. And whereas I be thinking sometimes maybe it be too inconvenient, but he loves it. And you have to, that's part of his self care.
Right.
You know, when you got something you love to do,
It's
women,
different for everybody.
right. Because I would be thinking like that's too much work, but that's what he loves to
Yeah,
do.
I get to pour into young men to help change their lives and help them to be better men and things of that nature. So
You
it's
know, it's so funny because all the times he's been coaches, he used to coach for Nike, South Beach, and different kind of Nike teams and stuff. And he's not he never cursed at kids. And people like, well, you gotta cuss them out. It's like, no, you gotta realize you can be, first of all, you can be stern
right.
and get the point across.
Well, I'm not a person that yells a lot, so that's why all of my other coaches always think you got to yell at people. But I don't. I've never had to yell at my kids to get them to do what I need them to do, and they know that I'm serious.
I don't know if I can say on one hand. I'm trying to remember when I heard. I know you've yelled before, but I can't remember when.
Not very often. I don't like yelling.
But I'm saying, but if I've been married to you all this time, I can't remember when you yell.
I'm not a person that yells.
Look, you see me over here I'm over here pondering like, when did he yell?
I just yelled like 3 seconds ago.
Yeah, I yell. Look, I yell. I'm trying to remember though, like that's not who he is.
Yeah.
And even when I went to the game the other week and I was on the other side, I didn't hear you. Like the boys responded to you,
Right.
but and you can tell and you know that's the thing too. You know how the Bible talking about my sheep will know my voice,
Mm-hmm.
and they tell you to know your spouse. Those boys know your voice.
Right.
Because you're not yelling at them. I heard you a little bit, but I couldn't hear what you were saying. But they were tuned in. I saw them, like responding to what play you called or whatever you told them to do.
Right.
So it don't take yelling to get it done.
No.
I do yell, T Marie. We working on it, Jesus.
No. I ain't doing a bunch of yelling.
You got three closes.
I know, right? Bye, get out my. You listen.
Yeah,
You know he gonna talk junk with me, right?
Hey, you
He gonna
already
talk
know.
junk to me. He gonna say, "Now I told you that's why I want to be on there because you be on there so long." Okay, y'all. May the Lord watch between me and thee while we're absent one from another. We'll see y'all next Monday. Love you now.
Peace.